What's good? Your boy's been feeling a little under the weather recently, so I'm not gonna have as much energy as I usually have throughout the rest of the videos. So for this time, I'm just gonna relay all the facts, all the information, and get this over and done with pretty quickly. That said, where was I in January? Long story short, nothing really ever happens in January. Gaming content is basically non-existent and ad revenue is at an all-time low. January is probably the least viable month for making gaming and YouTube gaming style content, especially when it has to do with gaming news, because nothing happens. But in addition to that, I was also away at MagFest. MagFest is an event that happened at the National Harbor in Maryland. That was when the Splatfest happened, and I kinda left Retro hanging. Also, speaking of which, I'm going back to Maryland for Katsucon happening later on this month. By the time this video goes up, it probably will be the week of Katsucon anyway, or the weekend of the event. So if you happen to be in Maryland and anyone in my small audience recognizes me, then yeah, I'll be there with some friends. But in March, I seem to be all clear. I'll make it up to Retro somehow. Anyways, on to the news of this month. Firstly, we got treated to a Nintendo Direct that showed off a lot of content. We got our first real look at Pikmin 4 with what looks to be 3 new captains and the introduction of Pikmin's version of Poochie. I personally love Pikmin. I'm a strategy game fan, so this is right up my alley. You'll probably see at least one video about the game on my channel when it releases, because I just love the series so much. We also got our first look at Samba de Amigo, Party Central. The last time we saw a Samba de Amigo game was back on the Wii, way back in 2008. Given the Switch's new intuitive motion controls, this game will probably be a decent alternative to something like Just Dance. Then we got hit with some huge Splatoon 3 news. We saw the introduction to the first wave of DLC, which will give us the old hub world from Splatoon 1, featuring familiar faces like Spike and the Squid Sisters, as well as a new look for Splatfests and what seems to be the soundtrack from Splatoon 1, which I'm super excited about. They also teased the second wave of content, which will likely feature a new story mode, including familiar faces from Octo Expansion. Agent 8, Pearl, and Marina are back in a colorless Splatoon 2 hub world, and the old lobby, the Deca Tower, appears to be the main location for the campaign. There's a lot for us die-hard Splatoon fans to break down, but for those breakdowns, I'm just gonna direct you to Prochara and that SRB2 dude who have already done analyses on the trailers. Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games are finally making their way to the Switch's online membership, finally giving value for the more expensive bundle's price. We also got treated to some indie games from various studios. Some of these are new, some have been talked about before. If you're an indie gamer, you'll have some pretty cool titles to look forward to. Then we saw an incredible trailer for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which showed us a ton more content and even gave us a release date. We got to see some of the new rune abilities, where we can apparently launch bombs, construct cars and flying machines, and we even got to hear what I can only assume is Ganondorf's voice throughout the trailer. They're also releasing a new amiibo specifically for this game's version of Link, which also looks pretty clean. All around, great new information. Right after, we got some gameplay from Bayonetta Origins. It's an interesting RPG game which will focus on a young Cereza and Cheshire, and is overall a completely different flow than the typical Bayonetta games. If you enjoy the lore of Bayonetta and also like the style of JRPGs, then you might like this entry. Immediately after, we got a hype new trailer of Metroid Prime Remastered. The original Metroid Prime was exclusive to the Wii, but it's been upscaled and brought over to the Switch. While we wait for Metroid Prime 4, this will be a great way to hold us Metroid fans over until the game releases in, I guess, another decade. The first-person action has been adapted to a more traditional controller. As some of you may remember, you could only play the original Metroid Prime using a Wii Remote and nunchuck. And while that separated controller style can still be used to play the game, the adaptation to a more traditional controller is way more preferable for most. On to a speed round. Wave 4 of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe courses is coming soon, featuring a brand new Yoshi's Island themed course, which I personally think looks insanely good and way more detailed than the previously lackluster courses. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Expansion Pass Volume 3, what a name, is releasing soon, including some familiar faces. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has been a huge success on the Switch so far, so this is welcome for Xenoblade fans. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe is getting DLC in the form of Magalore's Epilogue. As a Kirby fan, this is perfect for DLC. We get to play as Magalore instead of Kirby, and it looks like he has some specific abilities different from Kirby's, so that's gonna be fun. Anime Waifu Chest, Fire Emblem Engage is getting an expansion pass. That's kinda cool, I guess. We're getting a new Katamari game, Katamari Reroll. If you fuck with Katamari, seems like this game will take the existing formula and expand on it. Pretty cool. Dead Cells Return to Castlevania finally got a release date and showcased quite a bit in its trailer. So far, I have high hopes for this one. And finally, we're getting a new Tron game, Tron Identity. I like the aesthetic of Tron, so this seems interesting to me. Moving on from the Direct, I don't really have much more. Tekken 8 got some news, we got a trailer for Nina returning to the roster, and we finally get to see some gameplay. As expected, Tekken 8 is shaping up to be the next step up from Tekken 7 in graphics, and I'm assuming in how smooth the gameplay feels. This most recent trailer shows off quite a good bit, not only for Nina, but also for some of the other characters. Overall, pretty damn good. And Hogwarts Legacy. I'm not going to get too into the drama online about whether or not you should pirate this game. J.K. Rowling is definitely not on my list of greatest human beings. However, her affiliation with this game, its characters, and overall story is limited. As I said, I'm not going to get too into the Twitter drama. The way I see it, if you want to play the game, figure out a way to play it. I won't tell you how, but if you like Harry Potter, then I see no reason to skip this game. That's just about gonna do it for this video. Go ahead and go to the other channel that I'll probably put right around here. I'll let you know when more music comes out. And yeah, I'm gone. I'm gonna go drink some tea or something. Wish me well. I need to get better soon.